Today's podcast is presented by PodGo. PodGo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from PodGo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with the advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co, and be sure to add my podcast in the How Did You Hear About PodGo section of the application, which is Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle, conversations that connect to a healthier you.
Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle, conversations connecting to a healthier you, the show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello, and welcome everybody on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Always appreciate you tuning in right here to listen to the show. I am your host. I am Debbie Carlin Boyle. I am conversations that connect to a healthier you. I feature people that are in the health and wellness industry that are showing us how to live our very best life. And I'm so excited because I have one of those human beings on my show today, and we got a great discussion set up for you. But before we get started, I want to let you know that I am a health and wellness and fitness coach. I'm here to help you with your wellness needs. All you have to do is reach out to me at my website, which is balancelifebydebbie.com. I know that this has been a tough year. We've been navigating so much, and there's a lot of 15 quarantine added to our lives right now that I think a lot of people are having a little bit of anxiety with. I'm here to help you with all those things. We talk, everyone's individual, and I listen to your needs, and we focus on something that's sustainable and doable for you. So get in touch with me. I'm giving free sessions right now to get started. I also want to let you know that I'm an interactive show, so I would love for you to get involved in the show with us today, and you can do that in two ways. One is you can give us a call here at 323-524-2599. That's 323-524-2599. Chime in whenever you want. We'll take your call, and my guest or I could answer your question or make a comment or an endorsement. The other way to get in touch is to go to my Facebook page where I'm streaming live right now, and you can ask a question or make a comment there. I or my guest will keep the conversation going after the show. Or if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe and make a comment in the comment box. And again, we'll get to you after the show. So there you have it. We have a great show for you today. I'm excited about my guest, and we're going to get started because Dr. Deb is a naturopathic doctor trained in multiple naturopathic medicines. She is the host of the Let's Talk Wellness Now podcast. She's on a mission to teach women how they can use their feminine energy to build the life and business that they desire. After using all of her masculine energy to grow the Midwest's largest integrative medical clinic, Serenity Healthcare Center, along with 6 other businesses, Dr. Deb realized there was something missing for her. So at age 50, she realized that she left behind her feminine energy during this process. And after feeling lost and far from feminine, Dr. Deb sought out how to embrace that feminine energy. The successful life Dr. Deb created forced her to create a truly feminine, balanced life, and now living with her feminine strengths while still loving the masculine world of fun and business, she has created what she feels is the perfect life. Dr. Deb believes that the world would be a better place if women truly understood the difference between the feminine movement and feminine energy. So, here to discuss how to embrace both energies and move forward in the world so you can have the sex life, the business life, and the home life that you've dreamed of is my guest, Dr. Debra Muth. Hi, Dr. Deb.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. We just talked a few months ago, and I was excited then, and I'm excited now to have you on the show. I love this sort of subject that we're going to dig into today, and I like your story. You know, usually it's something in our lives that happen that create our mission and, you know, to help others, you know, change things for the better. And I can see that's what went on with you. But before we get to this feminine energy and masculine energy and how we can live in harmony with both, let's talk a little bit about you and your journey to becoming a naturopath and your center, and then how you got into this sort of shift, if you will. So where are you from? And tell us a little bit about your youth.
Yeah, so I'm from Wisconsin, born and raised here, never left. And I started out in nursing 25 years ago and really have always loved women's health. I knew when I was in nursing school, I didn't want to work in a hospital. I didn't want to do things to people. And a lot of my student colleagues would say, why are you here? And I'm like, because I need to get this degree so that I can go on and do what I really want to do. And that's really empower and work with women. I knew that from the very beginning. And I continued to learn about women's health. I worked a lot in infertility as a nurse when I started out, went on to become a women's health nurse practitioner, and really focused on women's issues at the very beginning of my career. I got turned over to naturopathic medicine, or as we call it, the dark side of medicine, when I was 28 years old, and I became ill. And I knew going in to see my primary doctor that I was coming out with one of two diagnoses. I was either going to come out with a diagnosis of MS or fibromyalgia. I had done all my research. I kind of knew where I was headed. And I went into the doctor. It was a beautiful summer day here, 95 degrees. I had a fleece jacket on. My body temperature was 95. And the tech kept coming in and saying, let me get a different thermometer. And he came back 3 times. He said, I don't know what's wrong with these thermometers. And I looked at him, I said, maybe it's not the thermometer. Did you ever think maybe it really is me? Because I'm here because I'm not feeling well. Never crossed their mind. He just totally blew it off. Doctor never said a word about it. I left with my diagnosis of fibromyalgia, a couple of prescriptions, an antidepressant, a narcotic, and a prescription that said, you're going to be disabled in 4 years. Go home and get your affairs in order. I was 28 years old.
No. Wow.
Yeah. And at that time, I knew that there was something missing in my life. I knew there was something different. And back then I had my wacky friends that did this weird type of medicine and living, you know, 25 years ago, it was wacky to people. Now it's mainstream, right? And so I called up my friends and said, okay, you guys have to know somebody that can help me. And they said, yep, we do. Are you willing to make a lifestyle change? And I said, absolutely. I'm willing to do anything. And they took me by the hand, took me to this great nutritionist who said, you need to do this diet and you need to follow this and this and this and take these supplements. You'll be better in a few weeks. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And, you know, 2 weeks later, all of my symptoms were gone.
Wow. What, your diet change had to be pretty drastic, right? But you were committed to making this change. That is amazing, because food really does change everything, good or bad. It changes everything. Wow. 2 weeks, you noticed
everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't easy. You know, I didn't know anything about nutrition back then. I hadn't learned about naturopathic medicine. I was living the typical American lifestyle, you know, and so it was huge changes. And 25 years ago, we certainly didn't have access to all the products that we have today that taste so much better than they did back then.
Right.
And so it was hard, but I went back and saw my doctor a couple weeks later, and said, everything's better. I can't believe how amazing I feel. And he's like, see, I told you those prescriptions would work. And I said, I never took the prescriptions. I never took the antidepressant. I never took the
It
narcotic.
drives me crazy that they want to give you medication that puts a Band-Aid on it and in the end makes you worse.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't do anything for you. So,
Nope. And he wasn't interested at all in what I had done. He didn't care, didn't want to hear it, nothing. And I was just like, how can you not want to know this? But he wasn't interested. And that was my first introduction to a different way of practicing medicine. And so I decided at that point that I wanted to learn this new way of doing medicine, which is really the old way of how we should have done medicine all along, you know, thousands of years of practice in this industry. And I went back to naturopathic school, got a PhD in naturopathic medicine, went on to develop a couple of degrees in like a master herbalist and nutrition, and just kept studying for the next 15 years and learned everything that I could about integrative medicine. And that's how I founded my practice. And I love what I do today. It's amazing. I get to put the best of all the worlds together to really help people be who they want to be.
I love what you do. I love why you're doing it, how you're doing it. I mean, you've got your clinic. It's amazing how you're helping people. And did you realize, just a little aside, that you could help people all over the world now with being able to do telehealth calls and things like that? When you first started, you probably thought you had to see everybody in person. Am I right?
Absolutely. When I first started, it was all one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't probably till about 8 years in that we started doing phone medicine, is what we called it, which is what we call telemedicine today.
Yeah.
But we did phone medicine, but it was still limited. You know, we still had to see the patient in person. They had to be in our state. And it was very limited. And so now today, the ability to treat people everywhere is amazing. And it's awesome because we can impact lives everywhere in places where people don't have access to someone like me.
That's right. And now there are programs, online programs I know that you do that make it more affordable, even if it isn't
Yep.
one-on-one. There are some very basic things with diet, exercise, self-care that people can do in these programs that could change the direction of their life for the better. And now there's access to that as well, because you don't have excuses anymore. Oh, I can't afford that. You know,
Yeah.
individualizing with blood tests and the Dutch test or whatever urine tests or, you know, another test, you know, is great for food sensitivities and things like that. But if general small changes will make a big difference in people's lives. They don't realize just getting rid of processed food can make a big change, and having
It's
accountability
huge.
with a program really makes a difference. I love what you do. I sought you out specifically. And then we talked a little bit about what we could do that was a little bit different from shows I've done before, rather than general, you know, holistic approach to wellness. And we talked about this feminine energy versus masculine energy and how we lose the feminine side of us when we become, as women, when we get very busy in our careers, in our lifestyle, and we somehow things get lost, and then our health starts to actually go down too. I know you have a story that leads up to that as well. I alluded to it a little bit in the introduction. Do you want to talk about that? And then we'll talk about, you know, we'll get into the whole how women can lose themselves in this sort of masculine world.
Absolutely. So I have been in practice, like I said, for about 25 years. I owned a previous clinic, helped build that clinic, and then decided to walk away from it and go out and build a bigger clinic, which is great. I love it. But it took a toll on me. You know,
A lot of work.
everything that we do on our day-to-day driving, you know, we're going to finish this task, we're going to do this, we're going to drive for that, we're going to accomplish this. We do that from our masculine side. It's actually our masculine side that allows us to complete all of those to-do list things. And in the process of doing that, I created this beautiful clinic. Then I decided to buy my own building and open up 3 other businesses all in the same year. Call me crazy, But I like to accomplish things and I like to do things. And so that driving force was awesome. And it allowed me to be able to do all those things. But it also took a toll on me and it made me a little crazy, and changed a little bit who I was, because I was always going, keeping people accountable, holding people to the fire, getting things done. And in order to do that, I had to use my masculine side. Otherwise, you get walked on in this business, right? And so I kind of lost who I was, my compassionate side, my feminine side, my soft side, and lost my intuitive side along with that. In part, I lost my intuitive side when I was in an auto accident and I suffered a traumatic brain injury, and I lost my intuitive side, but I wasn't able to get it back because I kept driving from that masculine energy. And I think if I would have embraced more of my feminine energy sooner, I would have gotten that intuitive side back sooner, but I wasn't in that place. I had to get things done. And it wasn't really until my husband started saying things to me like, I'm not your employee. Don't talk to me that way. And my kids would say, we're not working for you right now. So don't talk to us that way. And that's when it finally hit me, like I'm talking to everybody and dictating to everybody instead of being the mom and being the wife. And I left a lot of my friends aside and said, I don't have time for you.
Oh, no.
Even when one of them was going through cancer treatment and she was on her deathbed and said, I need to see you. And I said, I don't have time. I'll come tomorrow. And tomorrow never came. And I never got to see her.
Wow.
And it was because I kept driving and driving and driving instead of saying, this is who I am as a woman. This is what I need to do. So I lost a lot of opportunities in the last 5 years because I was so busy trying to make things happen.
Wow. Well, I want you to hold it right there. This is a really compelling story. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back. So stay with us. This is a great story and you're going to want to hear how it all resolves. I want to share with you a product I've been using for the last month, known as the most powerful antioxidant on earth. It's called My Vital C. My Vital C will not only help you feel healthier, but research shows it will aid in a longer life. And since using My Vital C, here are the things that I noticed: that I have no more restless sleep. It's so much easier now for me to fall asleep. And as you know, sleep is a great immune system booster. I'm also supporting my immune system with antiviral and antibacterial properties, and not to mention the high levels of antioxidants I'm receiving. So the bottom line here is I simply feel better. And now I'm recommending My Vital C to all my clients, my friends, and my family. To order this life-changing product, go to the link myvitalc.com/balanced life. Make sure you take advantage of the 25% discount on subscription. You can cancel at any time. Use the coupon Balanced Life for an additional $15 off your first order. Go to myvitalc.com/balanced life and check out this life-changing product right now. We're back and we're talking with Dr. Deb. And we're listening to a story on how she lost herself. Now, at this point in your work, in your masculine energy, at this point in your life, like I mentioned in the introduction, are you over 50 at this point? And why does it take to later in life for women to lose their feminine side?
Absolutely. So I was about 51 when this happened. And it's interesting. I've worked with women for so many years and I've watched this for 20 plus years of women getting to that magical age of 50 and saying, I'm done. I'm done living the life that everybody expects me to live. I'm done doing what my parents want me to do, what my spouse wants me to do, what my friends want me to do, what my employer wants me to do. I want to be me. And there's something magical about 50. Maybe it's the start of perimenopause. Maybe it's just that we're at that freedom age where our kids are more grown and we're ready to just say, I'm done. I'm doing it my way. And if people don't like it, that's too bad. And it's an interesting time. And I've watched it for so many years. And I said, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to let that happen. And it did
And
happen
it did.
anyway.
It did.
I saw it
Isn't
all
that funny?
coming and I couldn't stop it
And
no
it
matter
did.
what.
And it's probably a combination of many things. Definitely going into menopause. Definitely, I think, there's sort of like, we kind of get a knock on the head that says, oh, you're in the aging process now, because we start to physically see the changes, and the physical changes, as you well know, sort of pump up the emotional changes that were, how we see ourselves physically has a lot to do with how we feel about ourselves emotionally. So we get to a point where, well, this is a different stage in my life, a different act, if you will, and we want to take a different direction. We can't keep on this treadmill and this roller coaster for how long is it going to last? You start to feel that, end of it. And again, we also get off. I mean, I know, as you're talking, there's so much of it relates to a lifestyle I had as a commercial television producer for 30 years, having two small children, trying to navigate being a good mom, but also working really long hours and still getting involved with their ballet, with their PTA, being PTA president, running their talent shows, and just on that treadmill of constant got to do for everybody else, got to do, and taking control of every situation. At some point, as they move on with their lives, we shift into a mindset that allows us, I think, to see things more clearly and move on with our lives. So when you get to that point, and it comes to a head, how do you still be a successful business person, businesswoman, keep that masculine side, but bring back that feminine side, that feeling that we had when we first fell in love, when we first were dating, when we want, sort of our sexuality to play out, and still, I talked about at the beginning of the show about this isn't about women's liberation, is completely different than feminine energy. Can we talk about that a little bit and how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the feminist movement, I think, was amazing. And my grandmother was an amazing feminist, and I learned from her. And that's probably why I drove so much masculine energy, because it was always, you could do whatever you want. You can be anything you want. Don't let a man put you down, and don't let a man tell you what to do. And so I was raised with that belief. But I also realized that there's this softness to us, that we can be that wife, we can be that mother, we can be the person that we allow someone else to do something for us without it having to be a negative. And I was raised believing that if my husband did something for me, that meant that I was inferior. Like, I'm supposed to be the driver. I'm supposed to be the caretaker. I can do this. I don't need a man. And that's true. I don't need a man, but I want a man in my life. That's two different things. Yeah. And I want a man that is a man. I don't want a man that I can order around and tell them what to do, and they're just kind of going to run behind me. I want that masculine man. But in order for me to have a masculine man, I have to take that feminine role once in a while. I can't dictate to them everything that I want them to do. Otherwise, it doesn't work in that role. And it took me a little while to figure that out, because otherwise we emasculate the men in our lives. And then we want them to be masculine, but they don't know how, because we're being too masculine. And then we're looking at them and we're like, well, you're not what I want. I want a masculine guy. Well, they can't be masculine if we're always being masculine. And it took me a little bit to learn that. So when I started to learn that, my husband and I started to say, okay, let's do date night again, And so I would say, fine, let's do date night, but I'm not planning anything. Like, you have to plan everything. I'm just going to show up in the pretty little dress and be on your arm and let you parade me around. And I'm just going to let you take the lead. And it was interesting to watch this, because my husband wasn't used to that. He's used to me planning everything. Yep. And it took a little while for us to both get in that different role. And because I was used to being masculine, I didn't feel comfortable in that pretty little dress. So it was really uncomfortable for me to wear this dress and be feminine. And and play this different part of me. But it was amazing what we found.
I was going to say, but the results probably were really mind-blowing, really great.
They were really great. I saw my husband step up in a way that I never expected him to show up, and proud. And I got to be a little bit more vulnerable, and I didn't have to have the answers to everything. And it was okay for me to not be in that doctor role, and I could just be the wife.
How did that make you feel? Did that renew something in you for when you first started in the dating scene when you were younger? Did it make you feel, or were you anxious on the other spectrum because you weren't in control? Did you feel out of control? How did it make you feel?
All of those things. So I was super anxious because I don't like not being in control. I'm kind of a control
freak. I hear you 100%. I hear you. Yeah.
So it was a little uncomfortable for sure. But I think being uncomfortable is good. Now, my husband and I have known each other since I was 14. And we started dating at 24, but we were really close friends from 14 till we were 24. Mm-hmm. So it made me in that vulnerable place. Again, like before I was who I was, I had to learn who I was again. And I couldn't remember who I was from back then. So it allowed me to kind of play a role again and figure out who I was and who I wanted to be. And that wasn't easy by any chance. No. I mean, it was not easy at all. And our relationship, I mean, we've been married, it'll be 31 years next month. So we were in a relationship for a long time. Our sex life was kind of boring. We both knew what each other were going to do.
Yeah.
And date night allowed us to find each other again and explore new things. And I always tell my patients, if you've been in a relationship for a while, or you're just bored in the relationship you are, get the book Slow Sex, because it'll teach you how to engage in what you enjoy again. It gives you that opportunity to find yourself again. And so my husband and I started exploring some of these different things, started exploring yoni massage and slow sex and dating again. And he started learning things and I started learning things. And it really reignited our relationship and allowed me to not be in the role of having to make all the decisions and decide. I could just be.
That's
and
great.
That was a huge awakening for me.
I bet, because I think, I know I'm not married any longer, and I was in a 35-year relationship, but a big part of I always had to be in control. I always had to, kind of take the lead on a lot of things. And then I realized when I gave stuff up, I had resentment. And so I would think that if you surrender to the process that, and I'm sure it takes time. It's like anything else. You change your diet. It's not going to happen overnight. It's, it takes time to get used to the new feelings and the new way of operating, especially when you're so used to kind of the rote, process of being with somebody else or anything in your life for that matter. But I would think that there was a little bit of resentment, and that you have to kind of work through that part of it. I don't know. There was envy if I would see girlfriends that were in young dating scenes and stuff like that. I would see that, who weren't married over a long period of time, long term, that they were having really like romantic and fun things that they were doing, and you just start to get into this pattern with your partner, and then you just kind of resent them when you really need to kind of go back and say, where am I playing a part here? Where can we make this change together? I love that you discovered that and that you were able to make that change, because so many people are caught, I think, in long-term relationships without being able to make that change. So, the process seems not easy, but very rewarding. It from what you're saying. And
it is. It's super rewarding. And, it's really not as difficult as we think it might be. It's really about finding time and making something a priority, really. I mean, I wanted that really beautiful, romantic, fantasy life, love life. And I had a great relationship. My relationship was amazing. My partner is my best friend, and he is the love of my life. But we lost that romantic thing because it was about the kids, and it was about the business, and it was about the house, and it was about the farm, and it was about this. And there wasn't that exciting romantic life anymore. And so that was really important for me to create. And I learned a lot about creating that, and put a program together called Success to help other people learn what I learned and make it easy and fun again, you know?
Oh, I love that. And we're going to talk about that at the end, how people can access your programs and access you and your center. So if they want any of your services, we'll bring that all up on the screen, and we'll say it verbally for those that are just listening to us so they can get in touch. And there it is up on the screen right there if you're watching us.
Magic.
I was going to say, I think, because we're going to get into the aging process and how that, we lose our feminine energy as we age for some of the things we've alluded to so far, but having a very balanced having a good relationship with our significant other is a part of wellness. It's all part of that wheel that we're on, that cycle of all those little spokes of things that need to be interconnected and come together for us to be well. And our relationships, especially our one-on-one loving relationship with our partner, has to be balanced, or the other things start to go down. Our health starts to take a toll, which you were talking about. And I think it's so important. But can we get into the aging process? And I'm actually we're going to age. We age every second of every day. I'm writing a book called Age Young, which has a lot of different connotations. It doesn't mean to go out and get surgery and look young. There's a lot of other things that come into being for that. But how do we actually slow things down so we feel better about ourselves and we're able to implement this feminine side of us and still be successful in all other walks of parts of life?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think number one is really diet. And I know people don't want to hear that, but aging gracefully is 80% diet. It really is. Your skin is going to be better. Your mind is going to be stronger. You're going to be sharper with the right nutrition and the right food. That is huge. It helps to decrease the inflammation, and aging process is really just an inflammatory process. So if we can keep the inflammatory process down, our aging is going to be much easier, and you're not going to have to use medications and surgeries and all these things that we use in the conventional world simply because they don't know how to implement some of these changes. I think nutritional supplements are great. Exercise is amazing because it reduces our stress. And if we reduce our stress, we're going to age better. We're going to sleep better. Sleep is incredibly important to us. I love bioidentical hormones, and I've done them since I was in my 30s. And I really promote them a lot in my practice. I think that is a huge benefit for both men and women in the aging process. And I think there is a way to stay in the business game as long as you want to. The crutch is always, do I want to work until I'm 80 or do I have to work until I'm 80? And there's two different processes there, right? And as long as you feel good and your mind is strong, you want to stay in the game because you want to help people. You want to serve people as long as you possibly can. And there are great ways to do that. One of my favorite ways to do that is a nootropic or a smart drug that we call Piracetam. And Piracetam is a great amino acid that can be used to keep your brain sharp without the stimulating effect like things like Adderall and the negative side effects that go with that, and Ritalin. It's a great way to keep our brains sharp and for us to stay focused. And so when we have to work for a long time, we need for our brains to stay strong. I hear it every day from women saying, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job and I'm over 60 and nobody's going to hire me. Well, this allows you to stay in the game longer. Same thing with bioidentical hormones. They keep you younger. They keep your brain stronger. They keep you sexually active longer. Women, you're not going to like it when I say this, but men need to have an ejaculation several times a week to keep their prostates healthy. And so we want to help them do that so they can stay healthy and not develop problems with their prostate. And for women, that's how we stay connected to our feminine energy, is by having regular orgasms. And as we get older and we lose our hormones, that can be harder for some women to achieve, and then we get frustrated. So hormones help us to do that. Things like growth hormone, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. They also help keep our adrenal function stronger. And so our adrenal glands are two nickel-sized glands. They sit on top of our kidneys and they give us that fight or flight energy. And when they stay strong, we have better energy, our mood is better, our cognitive function is better, our bodies look better when we have those hormones flowing the way they're supposed to. So there are many tricks that we can use to keep that aging process slowing down, so that when you're 70 or 80, you look like you're 40 or 50, and not only look like it, but you feel like it.
And that, yeah, that's so important, is that, you know, you look the way you feel the way you look, and taking care of yourself is all. I'm well into my 60s, going into my mid 60s now. And I discovered at a very early age, everything that you're talking about affects how we age. And I often get that I don't look my age, and how do you grow your hair, and how come your skin looks like that? And, you know, other than the sun damage I did when I was a stupid young teenager into my 20s that is now playing out now, I implement all the things that you're talking about. And with hormone replacement therapy, we're talking, it's individualized. So it requires blood tests and urine tests and other sensitivity tests to see where your hormones are, so we know how to balance it, because everybody's so individual. Let's take a quick break and come back, and we'll talk a little bit more about this and how to sort of age young, if you will. We'll be right back. I have been a wine enthusiast for many decades, but for a while I had to stop drinking wine because of the sleepless nights and the headaches that I would have in the morning, even after only one glass. Does this sound familiar? So for the past 5 years, and since the start of my show, I've been looking for a healthy wine, and finally I found the answer I've been looking for: dry farm wines. Dry farm wines are lab tested for purity, just 12.5% alcohol or less. 0.15 grams of sugar or less per glass, very low sulfites, and free of toxic additives. Dry farm wines are dry farmed with healthy, biodiverse soil, and the taste, bright and vibrant due to no manipulation. I can't say enough about the amazing wines that I've tried, and now you too can drink wine and not worry about how it is negatively affecting your health. Just go to dryfarmwines.com/balanced life by Debbie, so you too can taste the love put into every bottle. Okay, we're back again. I'm talking to Dr. Deb. We're talking about the aging process and how to slow it way down. Longevity with quality is what I always talk about, and you are a master of helping people create that. Let me ask you, so with everything we've been talking about today, balancing the hormones, eating well, exercise, sleep, I mean, when you balance hormones, a lot of those things start to come into play, start to work better for you, you know, as long as you're eating well. So a lot of self-care, a lot of paying attention, mindfulness to what you're putting in your body, how you're treating your body, how you're moving your body, where your hormones are, and keeping those balanced. Will that keep you open, that your sexual side, not sexual, but sensual side of you would make you, even more successful in business than, let's say, that masculine part of you that got you to where you were in the first place? So this is really a better route, right?
Absolutely. You know, as women, I think we're taught, because of the feminist movement, that we need to be like men in order to climb that corporate ladder. It could not be any further from the truth. It is actually our feminine side that takes us to that next level. And it does that because we care, right? We care about our environment. We care about our community. We care about serving people. And it's that side of us that in business, people are looking to do business with. And when we're more caring, our businesses can grow much more. Our employees like us much more when we're caring and we're compassionate. And that doesn't mean that we have to be this, lovey-dovey, oh, walk all over me type thing. It's not like that. But because of feminine energy is present, we know how to maneuver different situations better when we use our feminine energy. For instance, I have a new accountant, and my new accountant said to me, hey, your old accountant didn't do this right. And guess what? We're going to have to pay this big fee this year. And I was telling my husband, and he's like, why aren't you like screaming? You should be so upset right now. And I said, because it's not really going to get me anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and send an email to my old accountant and ask him what he was thinking when he was doing this. Maybe there's something there that I don't understand. And so I used my feminine energy to my benefit and played kind of a little naive and said, hey, is there something that you were thinking about when you did this that maybe I'm misinformed about? Can you just tell me what you were thinking? Well, that got me an answer versus, hey, you dumbass, you didn't do this and now it's costing me X number of dollars. That would have gotten me nowhere, gotten me no response. That would have been the masculine side driving me. My feminine side got me, hey, I'm really sorry. I don't know what we were thinking. We must have made a mistake. Okay. I don't like that, but I'm glad I got a response. And my response after that was, well, your mistake costed me X. And I really don't appreciate that. How are we going to make this right? And so it put us on a playing field where we had an opportunity to make something right instead of me accusing him and then him thinking I'm going to come after him and yada, 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 right? And it just makes everything smooth and easier during the day versus everything having to be a battle or a fight. And when there's less drama, you're going to be happier. And at the end of the day, with less drama, you're going to have more energy to spend with your partner, to be sensual, to want to make love, or even just snuggle and cuddle or go out on a date or go for dinner. When you're driving that masculine side all day long and your emotions are constantly up and down and up and down, at the end of the day, you're so exhausted, there's nothing left to give to anybody.
You put up a wall, you shut down, you want to be left alone, and then you're really just creating distance, and that starts to build up and all kinds of things. That's why we have, 50% divorce in this country.
Absolutely.
Because you've created that wall. So such good advice, such good sound, smart ways to approach situations using that feminine energy, but not losing sort of the power within you to be successful in anything that you do in life. It's a tough balance, but again, with conscious effort, things like this can really work to your advantage. And then it helps you age young. It's going to help you live a longer, better, happier life if you can find that balance. We're going to take the last break. When we come back, we're going to get into the programs you have, how people can get in touch with you so they can now start tapping into everything that, has worked for you in your life and for your patients, and all of your clients. So we'll be right back. One last break. Do you experience digital eye strain from too much blue light exposure from digital screens? Baxter Blue glasses are not your average frames. These blue light lenses filter 80% of the highest energy blue light, eliminating 99% of glare. The past year, we've all been glued to our devices more than ever, and never did I think, as a health and fitness professional, would I be overexposed, but now all of my sessions are on Zoom. Our exposure to digital light has soared, and our eyes and our sleep are suffering as a result. Baxter Blue is also a force for good, and they provide a pair of reading glasses for someone in need for every pair sold. This is eyewear built for our digital age, and Baxter Blue is giving our listeners right now 10% off your next purchase of blue light, sleep, or kids glasses. Just click the link in our show notes for your exclusive discount. This is the sign you've been waiting for to invest in blue light glasses. I know you will love your Baxters, and I know that you will feel the difference. All right, that was it. That's the last sponsor I have to identify there. All right, Deb, we have a few minutes left, and I really want to get into how people can get a hold of you and work with you, because you are fabulous and they can really make a good change in their lives if they worked with you. So tell us a little bit how we can get a hold of you, any programs you have coming up, and then I'm going to have you leave us with some final thoughts.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Let's Talk Wellness Now, and on that is my podcast. We do live shows every week. New shows are posted every Monday. On there, you can get access to all of my programs. So I've created a couple of different programs. Success is one of them, which is just a great way for you to learn to reconnect and rekindle your relationship. It is nothing dirty. Sorry, guys. It's really just kind of more fun and how to, nurture that relationship again. You can also reach us on Serenity U, which is an online digital library that we created. It's a membership program. It's only $7 a month and gives you access 24/7 to hundreds of hours of functional medicine information that we've created. We put new content there every quarter for you. We have some PDFs, most of it's video or audio. And then for women who want to work with us from all over the world, we have my wonderful program, Phoenix Factor. Phoenix Factor is an online digital program. We also do group coaching calls twice a month, and you have access to my team and myself, and we can do individualized programs with you guys as well. But we have hundreds of hours of content about nutrition and exercise and hormones and all of the things that you need to do to age gracefully and stay in the game as long as you want to stay there.
Wow, that's a lot. Fabulous. So there you have it. You can see how you can get in touch with Dr. Deb, and you can be a part of all these wonderful things that you deserve, And if you're listening to the show, I would think that you are on a health and wellness path. So you would want to reach out to Dr. Deb and see what you can do for you and everybody around you. So one last thing, I want you to leave us with some final words, final thoughts, words of wisdom, quote, anything you like, just for the audience to say goodbye.
Yeah. So here's my final words. You are never too old. Don't let anybody tell you that. You are never too old to rekindle your relationship, to have the life that you want. We are going to live to 90 or 100. Live that on your terms. Live it how you want to live it, because it is an amazing life and we only get one go around.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I love it. I hope everybody heeds that advice. And I want to thank you, Dr. Deb, for being with me today. This is fabulous information. It's very valuable. Once again, I hope everybody got some benefit from it. I know you have. And I want to keep reminding my audience that I'm here the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. I will be back in 2 weeks. But in the meantime, I want you to keep going out and having those conversations that connect to a healthier you. Bye, everybody. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.